everyone. This is Jeff Praissman with Interactive Brokers Podcast. It's my pleasure to welcome back to the podcast studio Scott Bauer from Prosper Trading Academy. Hey, Scott, how are you?
I'm great, Jeff. How about yourself?
Good, good. I hope you had a happy new year. I know we're like halfway through January already,
I know.
but haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully, good new year, good
You
holiday
as well.
season. And as we do every Wednesday when you come in, we talk about the markets, not just what happened the past week, but also what might be coming up ahead with the market and economic events. So let's hit the ground running. How did the major stock indexes perform last week?
It's funny, Jeff, because right off the top of my head, I would have said that the markets were down, right? But when I actually went back and looked at the week, we're almost flat across the
Right.
board. The S&P literally flat, the Dow up slightly, the NASDAQ flat. It certainly seems like the overriding trajectory would be that we are negative, that we're down, but we're actually not.
Yeah, it's funny what whole, I guess, mental image goes into it, right? Because you would think we're down, but like when you actually look at the data, like we're flat. But I think
Exactly.
you're not alone in thinking if you pulled 8 out of 10 people on the street that follow the markets, and I think they would probably agree with you. Oh, we're down, but we're not.
Yep.
There's no shortage of headlines, right? No shortage of real events. And unfortunately, not all of them positive. But what were some of the key ones that have been just popping up as far as economic events or real events that seem to be taking center stage, at least for the short term, that you think had some impact on the market past
Absolutely.
weeks?
Geopolitical events are all over the place right now. There's too many to actually name. So there's a lot of headlines risk there. When we take it to what's happening here in eco data, CPI yesterday, good print.
Mhm.
PPI data this morning, really hot. So that is very confusing, in my opinion, for the marketplace. Not for what the Fed's going to do in January, because the consensus was they weren't going to do anything anyway, but moving forward here, what are they going to do? And then obviously with the kickoff of earnings season, we all always look to the banks, which do kick off the earnings season. And so far, those reports have not been great. I would say that the numbers for the banks haven't been bad, but the market reaction certainly not positive at all. That could have something to do with the 10% limit on credit card fees, maybe not. But as you said, there's just news completely across the board here.
And you mentioned earnings, basically kicking off earnings season. So the week ahead, what are some of the big earnings, and what are there any big economic indicators coming out that investors are on the watch for from now until like next time we talk next Wednesday?
We get more banks. The big guys like Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, they're all the following week. So
Right.
there could be some lead up to that. Those stocks have really been under pressure recently. So we could see some lead up to that. But I think what we really need to watch is this bond market, as we have talked about. And, that 4.2 on the 10 year, that has been that magic resistance. And I think it's been 4 months since it traded over that, and we've tested it repeatedly. And the market has hung in there, and we haven't seen it break through. And if we start to see this eco data, much like PPI was, some strength here, and even retail sales, which was pretty good, that could push bond yields on that 10 year over 420, which I believe would be somewhat negative for the equity markets.
And so you led me right into my next question, my final question, but I was going to ask you what trends or sectors might present some opportunities or risks for investors for the next couple of weeks, end of the month or whatever. Obviously, like 2025 was the year of AI, so I think we can just maybe ignore AI for right now and see if there's anything else out
Really?
there.
Thank goodness. You're the first one that said that. Yeah, a couple I have my eye on is energy related. I think with this rally that we've seen in crude over the last week or so, pretty much based on geopolitical events, I think it's a good opportunity to get short in that sector, whether it's through an individual stock, oil, crude futures, whatever it might be. I think there is an opportunity there because we're still seeing record production. Demand is still not up to snuff. I also like cybersecurity. Some of the stocks that have gotten hit recently, Snowflake. I know Palo Alto is in the news. There's some news this morning as well. So cybersecurity is one that I would watch for potential upside.
Scott, as always, this has been great for our listeners. You can find more from Scott at prospertrading.com. And also on our website, go to IBKR.com, go to education. You can see past podcasts, webinars, and articles as well from Prosper Trading Academy. Scott, thanks a lot for coming by, and look forward to seeing you next week again.
We'll see you next week. Thanks so much, Jeff.
All right.
The analysis in this material is provided for information only and is not and should not be construed as an offer to sell or the solicitation of an offer to buy any security. To the extent that this material discusses general market activity, industry, or sector trends, or other broad-based economic or political conditions, it should not be construed as research or investment advice. To the extent that it includes references to specific securities, commodities, currencies, or other instruments, those references do not constitute a recommendation by IBKR to buy, sell, or hold such investments. This material does not and is not intended to take into account the particular financial conditions, investment objectives, or requirements of individual customers. Before acting on this material, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular circumstances, and, as necessary, seek professional advice. Futures, event contracts, and forecast contracts are not suitable for all investors. Before trading these products, please read the CFTC risk disclosure. For a copy, visit our warnings and disclosures page.